Doing that again while the Coca-Cola truck drives off. There it goes. Hey sunflowers, welcome to BPD Squared, the channel where we discuss mental health, personal growth, and how to help each other become our best selves. My name is Brenda, and in this video, I want to share with you guys how I learned how to love myself in spite of having borderline personality disorder. In November of 2022, I decided to end my life. This feeling started around early October, but it really hit around the weekend of Halloween. I was celebrating my birthday with my friends, and for the most part, everybody said that they had a good time, and I guess to some extent I did, but I just wasn't satisfied. To be honest, I'm not even sure what I was looking for, like what I was even looking to be satisfied with. I just know that at the end of the night, I felt disappointed. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt the video for a second. I just realized that there was a part that I recorded that I must have accidentally deleted because I don't see it here. But to give some context before we get into the next part, I basically was at this place where I was dissatisfied with life and more things were happening to make me feel even more dissatisfied and insignificant and feeling just terrible about myself. And there was a point where, I had to ask my husband to come into the bathroom with me. I was in the tub one night and I asked him to come and talk to me because I just had to, let him know I was just feeling so bad. Like I was sobbing and crying and basically telling him I was tired of living and I was tired of being a waste of space. And, that basically life was just piling up on me. And so I just wanted to make sure that this context was added in there. Back to the video. I have to give my husband his props because I don't know too many people who can go through the things that we went through together and still say at the end of the day, I still choose you. Like, I can't count the number of times my husband has taken a knife out of my hands. I can't, the fact that he showed up for me when I went to the mental hospital twice, the fact that he's watched me go through episodes, through rage, through age regression, and again, at the end of the day, still chooses me to be his wife. And in knowing this, I felt so guilty. Like, I was so angry at myself for putting someone I cared about through something like that, and of course I know that it's not necessarily something I can always control, and I know that it's not my fault, but I really hated myself for that. I really loathed myself entirely. I just remember looking at him and crying to him and saying, thank you for loving me the way that you love me. And I wish I knew how to love me the way you love me. So one day I went into my living room, I pulled out my yoga mat and put on some sacral chakra frequency music. I put one hand on my heart and one hand on my stomach and I said out loud, I want to love me the way Keenan loves me. I kept repeating that phrase, I love me, over and over and over. First, it was quiet, like a whisper. Then it became tearful. And then I noticed my voice becoming louder and stronger and angrier. It was like a part of me was finally being released, like I had shed this thick coat of guilt and grief. I cried and I laughed, and then I hugged myself, and suddenly I believed it. I believed I could love myself. See, the thing about BPD and depression is that they will tell you and try to convince you that you are the worst living thing possible. They'll tell you how worthless you are, how you're not good enough at something, how you're not smart enough at something, you're not this, you're not that, they're much better than you, they look much better than you, all these terrible things. One of the hardest things about living with BPD is the lack of self-validation. So without someone to tell you how you should feel about you, basically, the negative thoughts tend to kick in and they end up winning every single time. But here's the kicker. None of that is true. It's nothing more than a trick your mind plays on you to try to rationalize your pain. Now, I'm pretty sure that I'm getting the yeah, whatever face right about now. So let me share with you how I convinced myself. Depression is one of your greatest teachers. It shows you exactly what you need to focus on in your life to feel better and be better. So instead of leaning into that particular emotion, I started to pay attention to the things that it was highlighting. So if I happen to be depressed about the fact that I may be overweight, then apparently I need to focus on losing weight. If I happen to be, particularly upset that there are dishes in the sink, then apparently I need to just wash the dishes. So to me, depression basically says, you have a problem, that's the problem. That's how you fix it. Now, I could say a lot about what depression has taught me over this course of time, but we're gonna save that for another video. For now, I'm gonna share with you guys 2 things that helped me to actually love myself. The first thing I had to do was identify the problem. You can't fix something you don't know is broken. So I had to admit to myself, 1, that there was a problem, and 2, I had to want to actually fix it. And once I figured that out, I forgave myself. Yes, you heard me. I forgave myself. A lot of my depression came from feeling guilty about things that were out of my control. And it could be something as big as me graduating from college to as small as me washing the dishes at night. And yes, I know that washing the dishes is well within my control, but what I mean by out of my control is the way that it made other people feel. As I mentioned before, BPD has a lot to do with relying on others for outside validation. Not having something to show for others to be proud of me really ate at me and really just made me feel so small, just so bad. So I had to take time to let go of those expectations. I had to forgive myself for making other people's opinions matter more than my own. The real love stepped in when I started creating boundaries and stopped allowing others to dictate how I should feel about myself and my well-being. That day I cried on my yoga mat, I released so many emotions. I released so much that half of those emotions weren't even my own. I had been holding on to so many other people's expectations, guilt, stress, doubts, fears. And that day, I really, really felt a thick layer just drop off of me because I was carrying around so much weight that didn't even belong to me. Now I'm gonna be real. This is hard. This is really hard. It's something that I work on consistently, constantly, nonstop, every single day. I mean, just the other day, I was about to talk myself out of recording a video because I'm like, man, it's been a while and, I got to do all this editing and I got to do this and I got to do that and people ain't seeing your face and look at you, you got pimples, you're breaking out and you're this and you're that. All these excuses, just excuses. But once I looked in that camera and I smiled, I remembered exactly why I was doing this. 1 is because I love myself enough to want to see my dreams come true. And 2 is because I know there's someone out there who needs someone like me to show them what it took to love myself so that they can in turn learn how to love themselves. The theme for February is self-love and self-care. So now that we have a better understanding of how to start loving ourselves, we can now focus on getting ourselves through what I like to call the dark period. So sunflowers, as we bring this video to a close, I want to leave you guys with a couple of questions for your journal. What negative beliefs do I have about myself? If I were hearing this from a friend, how would I change their thoughts into positive ones? Hope you enjoyed this video, sunflowers, and that what we shared today helps you learn to love yourself just a little bit more. Stay square. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Y'all, he just woke up from a dream. You dreaming, poo-poo? Were you dreaming, baby? What you doing, you pookish?